Primitive Organic Gardening Guitar today. We're gonna make salmon patties. It's one of my favorite summer, fall dishes to make. All I got here is canned pink salmon. That's not ideal, but it's okay. If you can find red salmon, or if you can fish some fresh salmon, that's gonna make the best salmon patties. So try to get fresh salmon from the river if you can. Unfortunately, I live in a place where there's no salmon to fish, so I can't fish fresh salmon. But I used to live in a place where I could fish salmon. I would go to the Snake River in Idaho. I'd fish all kinds of salmon. But now I'm in the deep south in a swamp. There's no salmon, so I gotta get the cans off Amazon. It's alright. We drain the salmon a little bit. Get all that salmon in a bowl. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some onion. Somewhere. Can't seem to find it now. I had a clean knife. Clean knife, who knows? I'm gonna put a whole onion in here. We're gonna cut it up into small pieces. Smaller the better. Two cans of salmon, one whole onion. I'm gonna put a whole bell pepper in here. Try to get the bell pepper in as small as pieces as possible. All the stuff's from the garden, except the salmon. Might also add some herbs from the garden. We're gonna make a sour cream dip with dill and oregano and lemon juice, and we're gonna serve that on top of the salmon patties. You could also put, herbs like dill and oregano into the salmon, but the high temperatures seem to kind of reduce the effect of the flavor there, so I wouldn't recommend putting all your herbs in the batter. The only thing you need in the batter is salt, pepper, a little bit of oil, and then you can put all your herbs into the sour cream and use that as a topping or a dip for your salmon. So here we're cutting up the red shishito pepper. We cut up a green bell pepper, cut up a fresh onion, but this red bell pepper, red shishito, very juicy, very sweet. We're gonna put a second one in here just for good measure. Now we're gonna have 2 shishito peppers. The next thing we're gonna add is a little bit of egg and a little bit of cornmeal. So we got 2 cans of salmon, we got an entire onion, we got a green bell pepper, we got 2 shishito red peppers. We're gonna put a little bit of garlic in here. You could also use fresh leeks or chives, but again, a lot of that's gonna go in the sour cream. And like I said, the last things we're going to add are going to be some cornmeal and some egg. And that's going to bring it all together. Make everything very homogeneous and well thoroughly mixed. More little piece of garlic. The salmon actually doesn't have a whole lot of salt in it. You would think that it would because it came out of the ocean, but there's actually not a ton of salt in the cans of salmon, so we're going to add a little bit of salt. If you look at the nutrition facts on the back of the cans of salmon, even with the water, which we drained off, the entire can of salmon only has 50 milligrams of sodium, which is, 15% of your daily value or less. So, yeah, we're going to add a little bit of cornmeal, and then we're going to add a little bit of egg. And that's going to be our batter. And then we're going to throw it in the hot cast iron skillet with some oil. And today we're going to be using peanut oil. We could also use a little bit of bacon grease. We're probably only going to put maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of cornmeal in here. You don't need a whole lot of cornmeal. Just a little bit. It says yellow cornmeal, but it looks pretty white to me. Oh, just spilled a bunch of it all over the counter. That's unfortunate. Just gonna have some extra cornmeal to put in the batter here. All the cornmeal that we spilled on the counter. Put a nice fat brown egg in here. I don't use white eggs usually. Like the brown eggs. A little bit of salt. And this is ready to go in the cast iron skillet. We're going to form this into patties, and adding that little bit of cornmeal and that little bit of egg is going to help this form into patties a little bit better. If you feel like it's not forming well enough, you're always welcome to add more cornmeal and more egg. Actually, still looks a little bit a little bit more egg. You could also add some breadcrumbs if you have like some panko or some Japanese breadcrumbs, or even just some stale bread that's been in your cabinet. Go ahead and add some breadcrumbs. That's going to give it a little bit more adhesive type of texture so that the salmon patties stick together when you're frying them. Said we're going to throw these in the hot skillet with some peanut oil, and that's going to be that. So I'm going to turn off the camera here, and I'm going to do another little quick update in a few minutes when these are sitting in the hot oil. Yeah, that's our salmon patty batter. got our salmon patties here. We got our fresh new potatoes from the garden. Lots of butter. I like to think that most of the dishes that I cook are actually just a canvas for butter. You know, butter is the most important ingredient. Butter is what I love. I just need things to put butter on. If I could eat just butter, that would be great. But it's hard to just eat sticks of butter. So I have to have potatoes and bread and rice and toast and oatmeal and okra and eggs and other things that I can put butter on. Life is a blank canvas for butter, and the more ways you can find to use butter, the better. This is probably only a couple handfuls of potatoes, but it's nearly a stick of butter. So we got a lot of butter and a little bit of potatoes. And we got our salmon patties here. About to flip these again. We put the green pepper from the garden, the red pepper from the garden. Then we'll top them with a little bit of dill from the garden and some sour cream. It's going to be delicious. You want to flip the salmon patties about every 2 to 3 minutes. You're looking for that golden brown crust. We got our salmon patties and our mashed potatoes. And we're going to serve both of these with a dill sour cream with some chives. Thanks y'all for tuning in. So you can see we got the salmon patties. You can see the green pepper and the red bell pepper in there. We also got the mashed potatoes with butter. And everything is served with a dill sour cream. We took some fresh dill from the garden and some chives, mixed it all up with some sour cream. Serving it over the salmon patties and the potatoes. Just a little bit better look at that. So we got our mashed potatoes. We got some more salmon patties in the fridge, and everything's covered in dill sour cream.